everybody, here's a quick video on an old small 1 by 3 foot HO layout that is basically set up as an Inglenook game. And what I plan to do is basically scrap this, but do something very similar in a roughly 1 by 4 to 1 by 5 foot size, which will allow for some larger rolling stock. But generally keep the same premise for the game, which is fun to operate. So this 1 by 3 foot layout was actually designed to fit on a shelf above my desk in my office, and it was set up to run on a 9-volt battery, but also I had a wire coming out that I could hook up to my computer, and so I could use it as a programming track for programming locomotives for my larger HO scale layout that I have upstairs, the 5 by 10 foot layout. But when running off a battery, I could easily run this layout and basically operate it as a switching game. And so the way this would work was I had 5 of these ore cars, and I had a picture set up with each car on it. And so to do the game, you basically would shuffle these cards and then lay them out here on this little rack, and then you would, or four of the cards at least, and then the goal would be to try to switch the cars into the order that they appeared here by the pictures that were dealt out. And so while that seems fairly simple, because of the design of the Inglenook game, you have limited capacity on a lot of these sidings, and so that does become more challenging. So the general Inglenook game has 3 sidings, with the largest one holding 5 cars and the other 2 holding 3 cars. In a shortened version of it, which this one was, you would have the shorter one, or the longer one, holding 3 cars and the other 2 holding 2 cars. So as it's set up right now, each of these 2 sidings up here hold 2 of these ore cars, and the one down here actually holds 4. Not that it really makes a whole lot of difference. The key thing though is that these 2 up here only hold 2 cars in this setup. So this works fine, but I have a lot of 40 and 50 foot cars for my HO scale layout that's upstairs, and so I'd like to have one where I could do the same thing but with larger cars. And so by extending this to 4 feet, you could do the same exact setup where you would have a 3-2-2 capacity on the sidings using 40-foot cars. If you go to 5 feet, you can do the same thing with 50-foot cars, actually 50 to 60-foot cars. And so that's the goal and why I'm wanting to do that. Now, if you also extend it to 4 to 5 feet, well, if I go to 4 feet, I could easily do 5-3-3 with smaller cars like this. And then if I went to 5 feet, I could do the same thing with something closer to 40 feet in terms of car length. So I plan to build it such that the track will be able to eventually connect to another module sometime down the road if I want to do that. And also, I will have it set up such that the larger siding will probably be flipped over so it's on the back side here, and that will be something like a large warehouse, or it might be something like a food processing facility, something that might take 10 cars or box cars or whatever. But it would have 5 loading positions. Now this would actually work out pretty well if you did something like corn syrup, where you had a food processing facility that took in corn syrup cars, which have different grades to them and have to be placed in certain specific spots. And so you could do this with a fleet of several 10 cars, and then the game would be that in reality the processing facility needed the 10 cars to be spotted in certain areas, and then you would basically do the same thing, shuffle the cars, and then decide, okay, you need to have whatever grade of corn syrup in the different spots, instead of having it always be the same spots all the time. And so this would allow you to switch them as needed, or it could be set up to where you have you have some warehouse bays, and then you have maybe some off-spot storage for cars, and you have to switch them around for whatever reason. But maybe you can make it more prototypical than just a pure switching game. And then the key would be that by allowing this to be connected to a larger or another module, this could be extended and become part of a larger switching layout. And obviously, if you have additional modules added on, then you no longer have the constraints of the Inglenook. And I do plan to use microengineering code 70 track for the turnouts and the flex track, and again, I plan to make it a more realistic industrial setting. And so that's kind of the goal for this rebuild of this little switching layout. And again, I still want to have it be very lightweight, be very portable. And so that's kind of the plan. And thanks for watching. Bye.